Ask Sherwin-Williams May 17th through June 3rd and save 30% on paints and stains with sale prices starting at $26.94. Only at your local Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Get ready. It's Fight Night in Youngstown with your host, owner and editor of YoungstownBoxingNews.com, Brian Whan.
We are back at it here. Brian, Vinny, our producer, Jim. We got Jennifer Sharp joining us in the studio. Vinny got his days mixed up, so they were out getting some wings, and messaged Vinny. I said, called him. I said, where you at, man? I'm here at the gym to pick you up, and I got oh crap, my days are mixed up for the holiday. I'll be down, but here we are, man. We're ready to go. We had some fights this past weekend. Jen making her
hey, yo, let me just
debut.
Let me just chime in on that.
Let's chime in.
You're absolutely right. I was a little confused about the days. My memory is not all that great, you know.
My days is still, the holidays mess me up,
Yeah,
man.
the thing of it is Brian, he sent me a text earlier and told me he was going to pick me up at the gym, and I said, okay, thinking that he meant tomorrow, which was today. So, yeah, had a little mix-up. And we went and got some wings. What is the name of the place? The West Side Bowl. Hey, if you like wings, you like fresh grease, West Side Bowl, go check them out. Delicious dry ranch wings, weren't they? It was pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good, man. Thanks for the wing ding.
The cheese sticks were fresh. Hey, they got a great beer selection too. So, they don't even know I'm doing it, but I plugged them. There you go. Hey, actually, the owners are related to Jackson Behunt, so I guess it's all the same.
Okay.
Yeah,
And,
it's his family, I believe. No, not anymore. Oh, they sold it. His family sold it. Okay.
But they made money off it. I mean, when they sold it, so. I mean,
whatever, man. Jackson has some type of ties to the bowling alley, and they have delicious wings.
Well,
okay, yeah. So we had some fights this weekend. Go ahead.
We had some fights this weekend, and first thing first, man.
Were you there?
You saw me.
You were there.
That's the ringside, man. I mean,
That's why I didn't see you.
You remember I came up to you and I said, "Hey, Vinny, we gotta get some calls made. Another only in Youngstown moment." And here's the deal: the Metroplex. I think maybe we found a new spot to have fights in Youngstown.
Let's do them a good service. Yes, the Metroplex was awesome.
This place was it was laid out perfect, man.
Yes, the layout was good. Well, you know what? I have one problem with the layout, but in all, the place was beautiful. The lighting was good. The atmosphere was nice. The setup was good. It was spacious. You know what I mean? The only thing I would have liked to have seen done differently was, how about a straight walkway from the locker room area directly to the ring, so we didn't have to, bother walking around people and, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Like right out of the locker rooms, there should have been a straight path, kind of like, well, you weren't in Atlantic City, but straight onto the ring, there just needed to be one pass. So like I said, so people wouldn't have to keep walking around and through people. The other thing that next time we do a show there, I would like to see maybe there be a way to stop people from being able to come into the locker rooms or huddle around the doorways of the locker rooms. Outside of that, the place was beautiful. The venue was sweet.
And there's an easy solution that probably just need pretty much like 3 little rail type things that come.
Yeah, that was it.
A security guy sitting there and just
they just didn't rail it off well enough. You know what I mean? But that's all fixable. You know what I mean? Little issues, but outside of that, the parking was good.
Ample parking. I mean, you could fit a great amount of people in there. And,
we didn't run out of beer. And I'd like to give a shout out and a thanks to Liberty Wrestling and Ryan Williams for coming through with the I don't know what you even call it, the license, the beer license to assist Jack in the beer sales and
running the concession stand.
Yeah,
too.
the concession stand too. That Liberty Wrestling ran the concession stand as well. So yeah, you're right. Thank you for that. They did a fantastic job, and I know a lot. I don't know what they had worked out, but the proceeds went to booster the Liberty Wrestling program. So all that made for a good night.
Hats off to your friend John from Masters Bar and Grill, man.
Absolutely. Masters Bar and Grill. Let me just say this first and foremost, because you're right. These are some great people, friends of mine.
Awesome people.
Yeah. They've been a sponsor of mine. We stepped out and asked them to sponsor the event, and with open arms, and they said they accepted, and they sponsored the whole event down there. And we had the weigh-ins at Masters Bar and Grill, and what was supposed to be an after party, unfortunately, it didn't work out the way that it was supposed to work out. But all in all, yeah, I'd like to thank them. That's a great establishment. They got great food, good service, friendly people, real, foregoing with kids and in the community and stuff like that. So, yes, thanks
they
to
do a heck of a lot, man. They run that Bikes for Tots thing, if I recall.
Yeah,
dude, they load up a whole semi for that. Shots for
Tots. Yeah. You saw me
and I know that just hundreds of bikes that they get.
Jen, how many bikes did they get? Listen, they had 3 or 4 trailers full of bikes this year.
I don't remember the amount, but they had a semi and a half
Yeah.
full of bikes, and they kept coming after.
Well,
they told us, this is the first year that we were actually not involved, but went down there and saw what they did with the Shots for Tots and the bikes, and they were telling us that the very first year that they thought that they were the bee's knees, because they had one bike. They took one bike down, and they thought they were sweet, like the bee's knees, and they turned around and they had a semi and a half full of bikes to take down to the Marine headquarters, wherever they dropped that off. I'm not 100% certain. I've been told, but I don't remember, like everything else. Anyways, they do a fantastic job with things like that, and they do a lot of poker runs and stuff like that down there at Masters as well, and they give back to different charities and organizations.
Well, here's our only in Youngstown moment. So it's about first bell was 7:30. I got there about 6 o'clock when doors open. It's about 6:15 when the judges get there, and he goes, "Hey, do they got any bar stools or high stools here for the judges?" And all of a sudden, it's all so I'm like, well, they got a bar, in this area, so we go there. No high. So it hit us, hey, the fight's lead sponsor, Masters Bar and Grill, just right up the street from the Metroplex. So John's there already, and he goes, hey, if you guys want to go grab him, he said he had a bunch of stuff in his truck, you know what I mean? So me and Country, I put one in my back seat of my car, and Country was able to fit 2 in his girlfriend's Nissan. And we brought back 3 bar stools from Masters Bar and Grill and took them back after the fights.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Because this was an issue at the end of the night, is who took those chairs back?
So at the end of the night, it was, you know what? At the end of the night, John moved the stuff around his truck because it was dry by then. And he took his tarp thing off, peeled it off, and we moved stuff around. We threw the chairs in there. But you carried one out, I carried one out, and John carried one out.
Yeah, I was just, I forgot about that. I did carry it.
But no, just a great night. The fights, man, it was awesome seeing Billy Lyell there with his team from Florida.
No, I'm never too thrilled to see Billy Lyell.
Oh, no, come on, man! I seen you guys going back and forth, talking to each other from across the ring, man. That was fun to see.
Yeah. But let me just say this: me and Billy have been friends since he was a young kid, just starting to come to the gym. There was a time where, if I saw, he was from Niles, so I would go the bowling alley up there in McKinley Heights and McKinley Lanes, and he would, see me, or I'd be at the festival in Niles, and he would see me, and he would follow me around and tell me about his training. Billy was always younger than me, so he would follow me around. I used to be like, oh man, when I was out, oh Billy. Anyways, and Billy gets older, blah blah blah. We've always had a rivalry between the two of us, a friendly rivalry. So yes, it was fun to see Billy the other night and being across the ring from him and being able to give him a hard time. It's just unfortunate that the one fight that everybody had money on, and the big show was happening about, we ended up coming on the short end of the stick on that. So Billy's got the bragging rights, for that night.
And that was Joe Rojas from Naples, Florida, with a victory over Jacory.
What'd you just say?
Rojas?
Rojas, there you go.
What'd I
can't
say?
be in
Rojas?
boxing and start screwing up Mexican names.
Rojas.
We'll be kicked out of auditoriums before we even. There you go.
And fighting out of the blue court, Joe Rojas. I don't know.
I just got excited.
Oh, hey,
like the way you roll those.
we need to get in touch with Billy, man. Get him to call in sometime.
Oh yeah,
That'd be good. You know, what's he doing up there and stuff. But no, it was good to see him, man. He signed my Boxers of Youngstown book, and he's doing right by those kids up there, man. It was awesome to see a team from Naples, Florida, come up here and be part of that card. And it was an exciting amateur card. I mean,
It was not now. If he could just set something up so we could go to Naples, Florida, it would be sweet. You disagree? You don't want to go
no,
to Naples?
I mean I'll
But you
go
don't
to
like
Naples.
Beaches?
I'll go to Naples.
You don't like beaches and mojitos?
I will not go. I'll drink some mojitos. I'll stay in the sand, but I don't really put my toes in the ocean.
I don't go in the water.
You know, dude. Listen, that Jim's kind of giving me
Or
this
sharks?
Like, look,
Hey, you ever seen a shark walking around the mall?
yeah, exactly, man, dude.
No.
Once you put step in their thing, I got no problem with shark attacks, man. That's their home.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to be where
Just
they
walking in
reside.
their home.
Yeah, like if they were over, if I saw, let's just put it this way, if I saw like a lion or something walking through the streets down here, I'd probably call somebody and they'd either kill him or, knock him out. And
Well,
take him
even if
somewhere.
you
Well,
went walking in his cage, they're gonna kill him too.
Exactly what I'm saying. We're not supposed to be in the water. We're
Yeah.
not supposed to be in the water. So on another note, let's talk to Jen. How did how explain us how was your experience for the fight the other night?
And if
All right, so like, listen, don't go into all the details. We just want to know. Tell us about your experience of the whole leading up to the day before, the day of. Just relax and tell us what you went through. Tell some people who might not have ever been in the ring, that have always thought that maybe they wanted to try it, but they never did because they had flat feet or they twisted their little toenail on a Tuesday and couldn't get it fixed for 20 years. Whatever the reason, that somebody, I always wanted to box, or I always thought about trying that. Well, I always take thoughts and turn them into reality. So do you. So why don't you explain
Obviously,
us?
I do too.
There you
Being
go.
42 and getting into the boxing ring. But
Yeah,
I-
age is nothing but a number.
Very true. But
well,
I
there's
guess
some situations where I beg to differ, but and Chris Hansen covers those subjects on To Catch a Predator. So all you gotta do is go on YouTube, type in To Catch a Predator. All right, Jen, carry on.
Okay, but if you're 30 and she's 18, it's okay.
I mean, but
That awkward silence.
Go ahead and answer. Now
hey,
you're
come
stuttering.
on in and have some lemonade.
Now you're stuttering.
I'll be right out. I'm doing laundry. Why don't you have a seat? All right, Jen, continue on.
we're
I don't know
sorry.
how I can go after that.
Well, now that you just sounded just like him.
Anyway, I'll try to bring it back.
Bring it back, girl.
Bring it back. The whole experience overall was a great experience. It was stressful. It was nerve-wracking at times. But the amount of knowledge that I learned, both in boxing and about myself, it was priceless. And I will definitely do it again.
Oh yeah, we've already stepped back into the gym today and started trying to fix some of the problems that we had from.
And I will
From the
say
other
that
night.
once you get in the ring, it is nothing like training for the first time. I got in there, and the walk from the locker room to the ring itself, that was so overwhelming.
And that's my
I had
favorite part.
people, you come out to music. I didn't come. I came out to you. I was behind you.
Everybody should come out to
But
me, man.
I mean, everybody was grabbing me and pulling me and hitting my gloves and smacking my butt, and just it was so that was the most overwhelming part to me.
Well,
and then
Who was smacking your butt?
Yeah, I think Vinny
I
would
don't
like to
even
know.
know.
Yeah, and didn't even know.
It wasn't
There
me.
would've
I
We're still talking about boxing,
There
right?
would have been a fight before the fight,
wasn't me. I sit on my hands.
But like walking up into the ring, and then Vinny was trying to explain to me days before, like what to expect and what to do and what not to do. And I think I might have even said to you, don't fall in the ring.
Yeah,
Because that's the first thing he said to me. Don't trip in when you get in the ring.
yeah. Don't fall over the ropes.
So I even said to him when
Yeah,
I was
no
getting
pressure
through,
there.
he opened the ring, the ropes for me, and I said, I'm not going to fall getting in. He said, yeah, don't fall. That's all I remember up until the bell
Listen,
rang.
you know how many people I've seen stumble? They're so nervous to get in the ring the first time they stumble and
Forget to pick that second foot up over the rope.
and guess what? That's right off the rip. That starts to throw things off. So I just told her, make sure you don't trip going into the ring. Plus, hey, at that moment, like me, I always think that to myself. It kind of gives me something to think about, to chuckle about, to keep my mind off of, everything else that's, taking place, as I'm walking to the ring and Jack opens up the ring, or Mike McCallum or whoever was holding the ropes for me at the time, I would think to myself, don't fall. Don't fall. Hey, everybody's seen the guy who flips over the ropes and bites it. Everybody's seen that video.
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
ever seen that
Yeah.
you don't want to be that
Get
guy.
the guy who tries to jump over, be cool, or get through it, and he falls
Yeah,
down.
trying to be too cool,
And
what
that's
I
all
mean?
they remember about the fight.
Just take your time and get into the ring. You don't want to fall going in. So to me, that's important.
Basics boxing 101.
Yeah,
Don't fall down the ramp coming to the ring or getting in the ring.
Yeah,
That's all.
don't do nothing that you shouldn't be doing.
who was it used to like spin on Prince Nazim Ahmed?
Prince Nazim Ahmed. He used to do
Yeah.
the little backflip. He'd grab the ropes.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
Yeah,
and
backflipping.
there was that one guy. The videos all over the internet. He tried doing the same thing. The guy that looks like Prince Nazim Ahmed. He comes in all skinny, dancing. And
Oh,
stuff.
Uzi.
Something like that.
Then he
Little
gets
Uzi.
knocked out.
he gets planted. I'm like, yo, you don't want to be that guy. So I think about that every time I'm going in the ring. Kind of gives me something to kind of humor myself with, to make myself calm down, be at ease, So, the nerves, the preparation, everything like that, Jen. What was the actual fight like? You know what I'm saying? Like, first round. Go ahead, give it to us. What'd you experience?
I don't even really remember.
Bell rings. I don't remember anything after that.
I remember the
I'm making
first
points
punch.
here.
I remember the referee calling us to the center of the ring and giving some like quick rules, and then going back to the corner and talking to Vinny for a second. I have no idea what he told me, and going out and the bell ringing, and I was just going at it for the first round. Overall, I was kind of disappointed in how I did, because I worked so hard to get where I wanted to be, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But I just wanted to.
What was it,
Do
from a
this for
technique issue,
me.
or was it from a cardio issue you weren't happy?
I was running every day. I was jump roping 3, sometimes 4 rounds a day in the gym. So I can't really say that it was cardio. I think it was more, I was so nervous, and I worked myself up in the locker room. I probably warmed up too long. And people coming in and out of the locker room and trying to,
Was that a distraction?
it was a huge distraction.
It's
huge
something that Vinny
distraction.
said, and yeah, so
See, and that was my question, because like in pro wrestling, they call that being blown up. You come to the ring, your nerves are jacked, and then you get it, and then you're dead. Your legs feel like cement. And I've had it happen just before kickoff. I'm standing there, I'm blown up. I feel like my legs are in quicksand, and then you're like, oh my God, I can't get going.
Yeah, so being since I took this little ride with her, and I knew that the day before, like the nerves was actually a couple days before. You know what I'm saying? The nerves had set in, and I kept trying to tell her to relax. And yeah, until you actually experience it, and you don't know, you don't realize that you need to be relaxed. Your first time, you really don't. You're so amped up, and you're so nervous. It's so hard to sit still, and there's so much going on. It's real hard to focus. And that's like one of the big things I try to tell guys. The last week of training camp, like, you should be trying to focus on what you got coming up. And people don't understand what it means to focus until they actually experience it. Now, I will say, I have tried this before, and we will take and work on this issue here in the future. The locker room situation is always a bit too much, especially when we're here at home. But it's not just here at home. It's when we travel as a team as well. We want to. How do I want to say this? My younger guys, the kids, they don't know how to focus. They don't. At least my guys.
It's pretty much everybody that age.
Yeah, but I don't want to, I know there's people out there listening who's got guys that are young, and they've taken them to national championships. They're doing this, they're doing that, and the guys get it. So what I'm getting at is, my guys have yet to experience what it's like to be in it deep, what they say in the brush. You don't know what it's like to be in the brush till you're actually in it. They want to laugh and talk and joke around and move around and catch mitts and this and that. So part of that is a little bit of my own fault, I guess you could say. But when we're fighting here at home, it's a bigger distraction because obviously I have 4 or 5 fighters fighting and wrapping hands and catching mitts and making sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do and stuff like that, that it gets a little distracted. But I've had this problem away from home too. The locker rooms sometimes are just a bit too much, especially when you have older fighters sharing the locker room. So yeah, that's always been an issue that I've seen. And
it's not only the fighters, it's people from the crowd. The doors open in the locker room and you have family coming in, and then every coach is coming in and trying to give you their advice on what you need to do, and then you have
and there should be a cutoff time for that.
Exactly.
There should just be a trainer. That's it.
Well, yeah, that's why I said next time I'd like to see an area that's blocked off so nobody could come back near the locker room doors, and so that we can just shoot straight to the ring. Outside of that, the venue and the fights were excellent.
See, now I'm curious too, and I apologize. I couldn't make it back in time for these fights, but you get in the ring, you're in the first round, you take the first shot. I mean, at some point, everybody gets hit. How did you take that? Because now it's real. I mean, it's game speed.
My first round, I just watched it yesterday. I couldn't bring myself to watch the full fight. I watched one round yesterday. I took this loss really hard because I trained my butt off and worked really hard and didn't want to let Vinny down and didn't want to let, I did this for me, my kids in the gym. I didn't want to let anybody down. And that's what was going through my head the first couple days. So I watched it yesterday. My first round, I thought I did okay in the first round. I talked to judges. I talked to, obviously, Vinny. I talked to several coaches, and they told me that I took the first round. I took that punch, that first punch. I felt it. I have a bruise on my arm just to show it, but I can take a hit. That's not the thing. It's the second round where I came back from the corner from talking to Vinny, and I don't even know who else was up there, and just feeling completely overwhelmed, and went out there and my legs were shaking like I was nervous, and then I started taking more hits, and then I started backing up like I know better, and it was just a loss from there.
So you start to get a little fatigued, and seriously, your mind starts to deteriorate a little bit. Now you go from first fight to you've had multiple professional fights. Does that ever go away? That nervousness in the second round when you're coming, okay, I've adjusted now.
Yes, it goes away. To be honest with you, that's what the experience comes into play. The more fights you have, the more relaxed you get. The more you learn to channel that energy and nervousness and anxiety and stuff like that, and use it, in a positive way. That comes with just growth of the sport. For instance, hey, I'm in the locker room. I could care less who comes in, who comes out. Because I've been doing it for so long. None of that bothers me. I'm in the locker room joking around and smiling and laughing and.
All the things that he doesn't want his kids doing, by the way.
Yeah, but I do it. What I'm saying is I don't want the kids to do it because they're doing it and it's distracting.
Well, they're learning what you've learned.
Yeah,
so
and see me. What I'm saying is I'm not in there joking around and agitating everybody else. I'm saying in my own camp, in my own locker room, in my own area. Yeah, I'm doing my own thing. Now, at the same time, I haven't fought on a pro-am. Did I fight on a pro-am? No, I haven't.
Not in November.
Yeah, I haven't fought on a pro-am. I haven't had to deal with amateurs being in the locker room with me probably in 20 years, maybe 15 years, 2005. Yeah, 15 years. Yeah, I don't think I've ever fought on a pro-am. So, yeah, that's a lot to deal with. All that goes away as you get more experience and get into it. People always say that, oh man, I can't imagine what Kelly, how he dealt with all that. Well, I tell you what, yeah, it was nerve-wracking for Kelly, but over the years of all the fights and all the different gyms you go into and all the different sparring partners and all the different eyes around and traveling the country and the world, whatever it may be, you learn to deal with all that. Now, when you fight your first fight, I tell all the kids, let's just go out here and weather the storm in the first round, and when you come back at the end of the first round, we'll talk, and then that's when the fight starts. It just so happened that Jen used the adrenaline and the full, everything in the first round, and then when it came back and she actually took the deep breath, and we sat down and we talked, I think the reality of the whole thing set in the second round, and when that time to sit there and really contemplate and come to realization of what's going on, I think at that point something switched and she started being more aware of what was going on around her than just being in the moment. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to explain.
I'll also say, too, is we trained for 1 minute rounds.
Yeah, we did.
And sparred 1 minute rounds. And going in, I was thinking I was fighting 3 1 minute rounds. And
let me take you back for a second.
go time.
You think you were sparring 1 minute rounds.
I know in my head that I wasn't, but 'cause I know you well enough to know that.
Yeah,
but I'm going in
rounds.
there, and they tell us that we're fighting 2 minute rounds.
So you added an extra 30 seconds around.
But that's a huge difference when you're only thinking you're going in there. And I can remember, the only thing I remember in my head in that first round was, is this bell ever going to ring? Like, when is the bell going to ring?
Felt like an eternity.
The development of the mental ability to deal with it
Yes.
becomes a factor.
Yes.
Well, hey, listen, boxing, 90% mental,
Very true.
10%.
So if they
physical.
don't tell you these are 2 minute rounds, you think nothing of it.
Probably not.
But that would have been
And that's
the
part
longest.
of the sport. I mean, and you mentioned it, Kelly. I can, there's so many extremes here. Your first fight, you fought in November, and I thought that was a huge crowd. I'm thinking that's a lot of pressure. And you put Kelly in, at the Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City in front of 14,000 people with the best middleweight in the world. And I'm thinking I'd pass out going to the ring.
Now,
Now, when you say, I'm sorry, Brian. Hey, when you say 14,000 people, you're talking 10,000 people from Youngstown.
Yeah,
Right?
God
So,
help Atlantic City.
Well, what I'm saying is that makes a difference. See, now, me personally, I like to take, like, my amateur fighters, my fighters, I like to take them for their very first fight out of town, away from home, where there is nobody outside of maybe their a couple parents and stuff, just to get your feet wet and find out what's going on before you go stand in front of everybody you know. Hey, that also had a huge part on, her nerves, anxiety, and her loss of focus.
and when we come back from break, you mentioned about taking fighters on the road. We're going to bring up a young kid you've been training, Tyrell Richardson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Too, and we'll be back in a minute here.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star, and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open. Don't speak with your mouth full. Keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Oh, it's
Most
I've
parenting
been
is
on
hard
the
to do
outside.
in
I've
just
never
2
missed
minutes.
a teacher fight.
2 minutes twice a
5
day,
years.
making sure they brush their
Never.
teeth is easier,
myself in
and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6
seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
We are back at the Gessler Propane Studios here in the beautiful and lovely Struthers, Ohio. I say that with a straight face.
What up, James?
Our supervisor, what would you call yourself? Did I say supervisor? What would you call yourself? Our producer?
Like
producer,
Justin
the owner,
and Alan call me button pusher Jim. Like I have all kinds of weird titles, you know.
I feel like you're supervising. Like, you know, like if I say the F word, you're gonna shuttle me right outside that door there. But no, our button pusher Jim, man.
You might do that, but that doesn't mean he's a supervisor.
All right. Button pusher Jim, man. You got some things going on here at Western Reserve Radio.
Coming up tomorrow, 3 o'clock. It's going to be the state semifinals in softball. The Poland Bulldogs will take on Jonathan Alder. And a D2 softball semifinal, and that's going to be to play for the championship on Saturday. So if you're in the Valley, tune in to Western Reserve Radio tomorrow. We'll go on the air about 2:45. First pitch will be at 3 o'clock, and hopefully we'll be able to bring home a state champion.
Is Champions doing it?
They are.
Okay.
I'll give it a plug. I believe that Jim Campbell's going to have that game tomorrow on Sports Radio 1240. Check on their website at sportsradio1240.com. And then you can check it out on us at westernreserveradio.com. You can also catch it on the Live 365 network as well as TuneIn.
All right, so good luck to the Lady Champion Golden Flashes and the Poland Lady Bulldog softball team.
Justine Carney, one of my favorite. I've seen her grow up. Congratulations. She just graduated and might walk away with a state championship. What a great way to end it.
That'd be awesome, man. So good luck to those two programs.
And she's headed off to Notre Dame College, which really confused me because the first thing she sends me a message, I'm going to Notre Dame on scholarship.
Oh, Notre Dame is up there.
And I'm like, what's phenomenal? I'm going to Indiana. No, I'm going to Cleveland.
What is that, like South
Euclid?
Euclid?
When they do that, man.
Yeah,
Euclid.
something like that. But it's a very good school.
Used to be they added football now. They were NAIA when they first started athletics.
Sure
they played at a local high school, and they started like gradually getting some nice facilities. They got D2, I believe they are now in football, and NCAA Division II across the board in all athletics. The Eagles there, Notre Dame College of Ohio. But we're back here. We are joined by Jennifer Sharp. For those of you who are just tuning in, had her first amateur fight this past weekend at the Metroplex in Liberty. Didn't get the result that she wanted, but we've just been talking about the experience. And, you mentioned the one thing, you felt like, you let people down. But you just need to know you didn't let no one down. I mean, just getting in there, man. I mean, you did a lot more than 99% of the people that were in attendance have ever done. And you showed a lot of grit and determination. And, I'm proud of you, so don't be ashamed of that.
To take a shot at doing that and learning and beyond at our ages, learning to do that. These are things these guys have been doing for years, and it's muscle memory. And to do that and to go in front of all those people, and that takes big ones. Let's just put it that way. I mean, I'm going to be straight out. I mean, that's amazing.
For one, it's boxing is not easy to learn. You know what I'm saying? It takes years and years and years. I mean, and to learn it at 42. And, to get in there after just, probably a year of training and probably only like 6 months of like serious training and, 3 months of like hardcore training. There's nothing to be disappointed about. You didn't fail anybody. If anything, you did yourself a great service by taking the chance of putting yourself out there. You gained respect from all the kids that you're around. You gain respect from a lot of the adults that you come into contact with, and respect from people that know you but don't know you. It wasn't an easy task, and you learned from it, and you got to experience what it takes to be a boxer. And when it's all said and done, I'm sure you have learned to respect the sport and to love the sport that much more. And
it's not a game. Boxing's not a game. Nobody plays boxing.
No, you can't.
So
play
it's a learned skill, and that's when you went back into the gym. I assume you guys were there today.
Yeah.
Was there a different kind of reception now that you've been in the ring? I don't want to say you're like that hardened warrior yet, but I mean, from the young guys, it said, okay, you're now one of us, so to speak.
It was a little bit different today, but I probably put that on myself more than anybody else because I was nervous to go into the gym today. I was a little nervous about what everybody was going to say or, criticize what I did or what I didn't do or what I need to change or, maybe I did something good. And so I put a lot of that pressure on myself today, but I went in there and I have to say that over the weekends, I heard from almost every single person in the boxing gym. They either sent me a text or called or just asked how I was doing or messaged Vinny or, just they care. So I went in there today and they all gave me a fist bump, every single one of them.
Oh, and they've been there. They know what you're going through, win or lose. I mean, it like I said, it's such a psychological game. You perceive probably a lot more than all of them do. How many times, Vinny, you've seen it a ton of times. I mean, you don't overanalyze it now.
Oh no!
But as a new person, you probably do.
Yeah. You know what? I'm usually like, let me see the fight one time and then I'm done. I don't overanalyze anything really. I mean, I take a look at it and like, well, that happened. Well, hey, what's in the past? In the past. I don't live in the past. I always look at the future, and that's just how I run. But as far as the kids and everybody in the gym, yeah. They already respected you. You're already part of their community. But now you have more of a sense of what they're going through going in there. So that's when, as the rest of the year goes on, that's when you'll see the bond that you made through getting up there and attempting it yourself.
She got street cred now.
Yeah, you got the you got the cred, yo. What is it? You got the juice.
No.
Remember juice?
No, but I do have to say one more thing, though, and I'll let you guys move on. I feel like I've taken up a lot of your time, but I have to give a shout out to Vinny. I can't thank you enough. I've probably told you this 1,000 times, but the time that you spent with me.
You could tell me again.
I'm trying to have a moment here. Like the time that you spent with me in the gym every day, every night, an hour after everybody left. It made our bond that much closer, and I appreciate you. And you being in my corner meant everything to me. Even though you yelled at me the whole time,
Absolutely,
it meant everything to me.
if I didn't yell at you, everybody would have thought I was taking it easy.
He was speaking in a manner in which you could hear and understand,
yes.
Okay? It's a very loud crowd.
Joni loves Chachi.
I also have to give a quick shout out to Jack for letting me be a part of his show and kind of just working with me, catching mitts with me, having some faith in me that I could do it, and Hutter for again catching mitts with me, and all the coaches down at Southside are amazing. So thank you.
While we're talking about that show at the Metroplex, and we already touched on how great of a venue it was for a fight, and we touched on all that, and let's just I'm gonna run through the results real quick, then we'll touch on some individual performances.
You know who said he was gonna be there and never showed up?
Who's that?
Again, your boy, man.
Dominguez.
Dominguez, he's never there.
No, I don't think James was planning on coming this one.
He told me he was coming.
He's a pretty important guy, though. I mean, he's traveling the world, man. I mean,
he was pretty.
I was stoked to meet him.
I know he talked on Saturday.
I spoke to meet up with him.
He's training for his own fight.
Yeah, we're
coming up to the end of the summer,
man. We were trying to get at him.
He'll chime in. He'll let us know what happens. Let's see here.
Is he on the live feed?
Oh, he's on here. He's listening. He's over there trying to figure out what to say smart.
Hey, James, have some lemonade.
Don't get him started.
Don't get him.
Here it comes.
He's trying to remember the phone number right now. He's sitting there like, hey,
all right,
I can't wait till Brian recites his phone number. I'm calling in.
All right, Drew Smith with the decision victory over Marlon Johnson. Good to see Drew Smith back fighting in the area. This is amateur results. Abraham Besserell. Did I spell that right?
Good. Close enough.
All right, Hey, I'm proud of Abraham picking up the decision win over Leo Chavez out of Naples, Florida, in his amateur debut. Ian Zuber with a pretty impressive TKO 3. He's out Pittsburgh over James Roller of Youngstown. Andre Henderson of Youngstown decision over Alex Harrison of Pittsburgh. That was a pretty decent fight. Your boy Tyrell Richards of Youngstown with decision over Brian Garcia of Naples, Florida.
The villain.
And Joe Rajos of Naples, Florida.
I got to adjust the sound when you say that name.
Chicorian and Den. But let's talk about Tyrell. I mean, he's 2-0. You took him on the road his first match, and he played, as you said, the villain.
Well, that's his nickname, man. The villain. I gave it to him. He's the villain. Anyways, yeah. Hey, so he's 2-0. He fought 2 weekends in a row. Both weekends was the same outcome from the same fighter. Real wild. Hey. But when I say wild, he's wild, but he's fighting. You know what I mean? It's like when you get into a Terrell, you're going to be in a street fight, and you're dealing with a kid who is a strong runner. He's in shape. He works hard. He comes to the gym. He's there about 92% of the time. He has some times where
you just did some division in your head real quick.
No, I just don't. I just like being. I like being different. I would have said like 92.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyways, 92.2% of the time. Anyways, he works hard. Now, so we're gonna refine some of his punches and try to settle him down. But all in all, I can't be upset with his performance and him being wild because he's fighting. He's doing enough to win, and that's pretty much what I need out of a young guy right now. Now the one person I want to talk about real quick that really impressed me, and I'm sure he impressed the two of you the other night was Abraham. All right, now. When I tell you that I've been working with this kid, not as serious as I have with some of the other guys, for various reasons, but the main reason is Abraham has been on the fence of like not being real serious and not taking things serious and just kind of on his own program, right? Well, ever since he was told that he was going to fight, he started taking things a little bit more serious. He started asking questions. He started putting in a little bit more time. He started running harder. He started doing all the things that I've been waiting for him to do to get him a fight. Like I said, it's been 3 years I've been in the gym working with kids, and he just had his first fight, and the reason was because he wasn't developing the way that I would like to see my guys develop before I throw him in the ring, and I didn't want to put the kid in there to get hurt or embarrass himself because he doesn't train or doesn't train like everybody else at the time. But he really shocked me. He got in there and he let his hands go and he kept going forward and he threw hard shots and he didn't run out of gas. A year ago, Abraham wouldn't have been able to get out of the first round. A year ago, he would not be able to get out of the first round. And I was real proud of him and real proud of the performance that he put up, the heart that he showed, the confidence he showed in himself, the ability to train harder and be serious, because that was part of the big thing I was wondering about is whether or not Abraham was going to be able to take this serious enough to actually be successful. And, thankfully he was able to dig down inside himself and find it inside himself to come out victorious and do what needed to be done. And now, just like I told Terrell and him today, I don't want their heads to get too big. They're, I need them to focus back in. The thing about boxing is you win today, you celebrate tomorrow, you get your praise on Sunday, and by Monday it's got to be gone because you got to go back to the drawing board and you got to start over.
All right, then we flip things over to the pro side of the card. And first things first, I think it's open season now. We're allowed to definitely put on blast, but there's no reason why that the Salinas match should have been niched by the Ohio Athletic Commission. Popo had his fight kind of scratched the last minute when
I remember that Tommy Cordell
when his fight didn't get approved. He was going to fight Tyrone Jones, 4-5-1, from South Bend, Indiana, and I guess the Ohio Athletic Commission just doesn't want fighters to build a record in Ohio.
Well,
when we talked about this, and
we'll get to that in a second. I just got Tom Cordell said Danny might be fighting again June 8th in Cleveland.
Oh, okay, June 8th at the Northfield Racino there.
Probably, yeah, with
Rizemi and Ford's going to be fighting there too.
Is that the same card that
Yeah, Northfield.
Sims is gonna be on?
That's
too?
the MGM Grand.
Yeah.
The MGM. Yeah, Brian Sims is gonna be fighting amateur there. Rysemian Ford making his pro debut.
Go ahead and plug that for a minute. Yeah,
That's
what is that, June 8th?
World Fighting Championship promoted card. I believe you get the tickets on Ticketmaster. I believe they run
Or by contacting one of the fighters.
Or by contacting one. Yeah, definitely. You know what? Get in touch with one of the fighters because they're selling the tickets and they get to make their money and stuff.
I've been watching Ford's
post
his little videos that he makes. I kind of find them very amusing.
But no, Danny Rosenberger with the unanimous decision.
His own YouTube page.
Over Kevin Shacks out of Lansing, Michigan. A fight that started slow. Danny kind of picked it up at the end, and I was kind of worried, because you know what, after the Rocco Nolfi fiasco with the judges, I didn't have no faith in them judges.
How bad are judges?
Oh man!
Let me take it back.
Look at those high chairs. I went and got it stuffed in across the back seat of my Toyota. Made no difference for those guys when it came to that Nolfi fight. Absolutely no difference.
What fight were we just watching? Was it yesterday? Yesterday?
Well, you talk about Terrell Goucher?
No.
Goucher got robbed. It got the draw.
I can't remember what fight I was watching. Listen.
I can see it in my head.
No. The two females that fought this past weekend. What was her name? Dang, man.
I didn't want to watch it.
Sanchez? Was it Sanchez? Anyways, there was no way it was a 91. This girl won. I thought she won the fight, and the judges had it a 91 to 99. They only gave her one round. Can't think of who that fight was. I can't remember. Anyways, yeah, the judges. I don't get how they score some of these fights, like, or what they're watching, or if they're watching. It's amazing to me. A Nolfi's fight was a complete embarrassment for those judges. I don't even know how they could,
I think I scored it 3-1, and the round that I gave. I think the round that I gave to Davin Carter, I think was the third round, and I think I gave it that because, that was like me not trying to be a homer. But I still think, Nolfi probably won that round, if you get what I'm saying. So I loosely judged that round, giving it to Davin Carter to try to maybe figure out where the judges were coming from. I was just trying to figure this out. Like, how did a judge actually give Davin Carter the decision?
Well, hey, I'm not.
The fight was rolled a split draw, which means one of the cards went to Nolfi, one of the cards went to Davin Carter, and the other one was rolled a draw. But it was just, I don't get it.
I don't understand it either. And let's get off of the judges because they're just horrible anyways. They need to bring youth into the judging situation. I've been saying that for years. You got these old guys who've been watching so many boxing matches, they don't know what the hell's going on. My biggest problem I have with the whole my bad, I'm sorry about that. The commission. Fights shouldn't be as complicated for pro debuts, for guys that are trying to climb the ladder and build records and trying to support their families and put food on the table. And here in Ohio, like, it's hard to make a pro boxing match. I mean, I couldn't imagine having 10 pro fights and having to deal with making 10 pro fights in the state of Ohio. What a joke. I mean, like, when was the last time we had a world championship fight in Ohio?
Kelly fought.
Yeah, that's a question. Is that the reason that major networks aren't coming here and bringing cards?
Showtime, I guess, had a hell of a time when they were in here for Showbox last November. I think
in Cleveland. Was that where they were?
Yeah, it would have been November of November 2017.
You're right, man.
And they had a hell of a time putting together the whole card.
And I just want to put it out there like this. In my opinion, it's the same thing all around the board in Ohio. Last ones to get casinos. Then we get casinos, and we don't want to put in table games. And
now we're not going to get sports books.
And now we don't want to do sports books.
Yeah.
Hey, we always want to play hardball in Ohio, and it's because of the old timers sitting in positions and stuff like that. They think like, the times are changing, things are changing. The people in these positions needs to change. If you catch my drift, you know what I mean? Like, some of these people need to be kicked out of office. Give up their cushy jobs with their great insurance and their $70,000 a year. Meanwhile, they're holding everybody else down. It isn't that guy that the boxing commissioner and the people in the office they're still able to feed their families. They're still able to drive their Mercedes. They're able to afford their gym membership, right? They're able to put gas in their car, right? But the fighters out here struggling to make $1, fighting on show cards for $500, $1,000, $2,000, and only able to fight in their own hometown, once a year maybe, if they're lucky.
Well, here's something I want to bring up is the last pro fight that was, the first pro fight actually on the card that night was John Gregory making his ring return, probably out of 2.5-year hiatus, taking on Samuel Winehouse in a middleweight fight. Samuel Winehouse, 20-year-old amateur from Dayton, making his pro debut, and I got a chance to talk to him and his dad at the weigh-ins, and we were talking and stuff. I said, hey, you got any other fights booked up? And the one thing they said to me is they want to try to build up their record in Ohio. And I was like, oh, man, first thing I thought was good luck with that. But, it's just like when we took that call from Mike McSorley when he said, building up a resume in Ohio and Pennsylvania, he feels carries a little bit more weight. But it's just what you said, man. Like, you got to be able to at least build up a resume, though, and the Ohio Athletic Commission is not going to give you a chance to build that resume. There is no reason why last March of 2018, that Alejandro Popo Salinas should have had to take on an opponent the caliber of a Segawa. I can't whatever his first name was, the Ugandan fighter who was a southpaw, and that was a dangerous fight. But there's no reason why that was supposed to be a fight for, I want to say, like every fighter who he just came off that fight in Las Vegas, and just beat the undefeated Duran Vu. That was supposed to be, I want to say, like his fight off, but it was supposed to be a pretty much a fairly easy, winnable fight. Let's get a win under our belt here. And instead, I mean, that was a high-risk fight. And going into that fight, that was more of a high-risk fight than Duran Vu that he fought on national TV.
Well, you're right. These guys, fighters, right? When you're fighting at home, obviously you're bringing in opponents. You're bringing in the B side, right? And the B side, opponents are brought in from out of town. You have to pay them a little bit more to come in and fight in your backyard, and you have to and you have to give them hotel rooms, and you have to pay for their medicals. And I'm talking from a promoter standpoint, So you have to take care of that guy, right? Hey, you're taking care of that guy to give your fighter the rounds and the experience and to stay active, and you're not paying your fighter as well, because you have to take care of this guy in order to get him to fight. So meanwhile, you're taking high risk for no reward on the A side of a card. For what, man? You're taking a shot of losing and having these complicated fights, which is going to slowly tear down a situation like with Segua. Popo didn't beat him. Now his stock went down. Now he's got to go back to rebuilding and get back to where he was and put himself back on the chart, right? You should not. It's also very hard to build a following and a crowd to follow you around the country when you're fighting if you're not winning at home, or if you're struggling winning at home. With tough fights, and then when you go out, people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, he ain't gonna win." Well, you ain't got nobody backing you because they see you struggling at home. Any of them people gonna pay for pay-per-view tickets? Well, I know that's gone away, but you see what I'm saying? Like, how do you get signed if you can't even get a following? Because every time you fight at home, you don't look very strong because you got complicated fights in front of you, and you're not getting paid for them fights. If I'm fighting a guy, he could have fought that Segua a year from now when they both got 15 to 20 fights, and guess what? They could have both got paid. They could have both pulled out, $20,000, $30,000. You know what I'm saying? $15,000 to $30,000 will go in that range. The two of them together. Instead, the one guy took a loss for what? $1,500, $3,000. Like, come on, man. The money, the risk and the reward. They need to. There needs to be some type of balance, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, that's and I hate being a critic of it. I mean, it's our home state and whatnot, but it's justified. It's sadly justified.
Real quick, we got a thoughts on the Wilder versus Ortiz rematch. Listen, ain't no outside of Tyson Fury, ain't nobody beating Wilder. That's just my opinion.
I think Wilder gets rid of Anthony Joshua. I think he's finally.
I think he could. I think he has a shot at beating Joshua. The only guy
who's ducking who?
They're all ducking each other. Listen, that was the big issue I had on the one show talking about the TV networks getting involved. In the situation is now you have the promoters not getting along, and now you got these different networks, chiming in, and guys signing with the different networks. Now they don't want to fight each other. You know what I mean? There was a way to duck each other, was all sign with somebody else. Me personally, I think it just made the whole arranging fights that much more complicated by putting everybody on all these different networks, letting them sign contracts, or the promoters sign contracts with networks. Trying to do like they did with football,
We're about to wrap things up here. We got about a minute left to go. I'm just scrolling through my Facebook here, seeing.
While you're doing that, let me real quick remind everybody. I'm going to remind everybody Saturday we got a doubleheader here at 12:50 airtime, 1 o'clock kickoff. We're going to have the Cleveland Warriors hosting New York Strongest in the National Public Safety Football League game. And then we're going to follow that up with the evening game, 6:50 airtime, 7 o'clock kickoff, as the Cleveland Cobras host the Howard Huskies in a crosstown rivalry. Again, you can hear all the action right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can hear Tim Continenza, Matt Emsch, and the early game, and Mark Means and I at the later game there. So doubleheader coming up Saturday here on Western Reserve Radio.
Real quick, Tommy Cordell. Hey, I hear what you're saying. It's not them, it's the promoters. But listen, you know as well as I do, if they can duck each other, they'll duck each other as long as they can, man. Everybody wants to keep that belt, and nobody wants to lose it because that's how they make their money. Go ahead and take it away, Brian.
Hey, well, before we wrap things up, man, I just want to thank Jen here for joining us here in the Gessler Propane Studio here, as I said, in the beautiful Struthers, Ohio. For Brian, Vinny, Jim. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Just want to remind everybody, man, be kind to one another. You see people on the streets. You don't know what kind of battle everybody's battling, and nobody should ever have to fight alone. So we'll see you guys till next time. Keep your heads up and protect yourself at all times, Youngstown.
Western Reserve Radio at westernreserveradio.com on the Live 365 network and the Live 365 app.
Quicken Loans presents the Sports Flash, driven by Jeep on Western Reserve Radio.
Deep right field, back is Betts, track, wall, he got a glove on it, dropped the ball. Into scores Lindor, Mercado is following him home. Into second is Luplo, and stopping at third is Santana.
The call on the Indians radio network in yesterday's 7-5 win over the Red Sox at Fenway Park. Cleveland battled back and scored 5 times in the top of the 9th to take the win. Zach Plesac went 5 1/3. He gave up a run on 4 hits. He walked 1 and struck out 2. Derek Dietrich hit 3 homers, all of them 2-run shots for Cincinnati. And the Reds pulled away for an 11-6 win over the Pirates on Tuesday. Pirates pitcher Jordan Lyles was replaced after the 4th inning because of discomfort in his left hamstring. Start building your legend today. It's the Jeep Celebration event going on now at your local Jeep dealer. The Sports Flash is driven by Jeep. Chuck Sanders, Western Reserve Radio.
This year, tell Daddy's special with great gifts from Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, like Bass Pro flag tees and logo caps for only $5 each. Save $40 on a Cuddyback Moonlight IR game camera, and save $200 on a Traeger Liltex Elite pellet grill. Plus, get a free cover. For store locations and a huge selection of great Father's Day gift ideas, visit BassPro.com and Cabela's.com with free 2-day shipping. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.
Welcome to Sherwin-Williams.
So I can get 30% off paint?
Yes.
And 30% off stains?
You bet.
Party time!
Yeah!
Oh, party time, the color. I'd like 3 gallons in party time, please.
You got it. Ask Sherwin-Williams May 17th through June 3rd and save 30%.